Hello everyone, welcome you all to Study Max. In this lecture, we are going to learn chapter number 1 Gravitation from Science and Technology Part 1. This is our textbook of Science and Technology Part 1 of Standard 10th, which you can download from ebalbharti.in. In this lecture, the content is gravitation, centripetal force, Kepler's law, and Newton's universal law of gravitation. So let's begin. Before going to gravitation, there are some concepts which in can you recall. Okay, the first is what are the effects of a force acting on an object. Suppose there is an object and the force is acting on an object, then what are the effects of that force? Okay, if the object is at a rest, the first effect is that it can be accelerated by means of the force. Okay, or it will be in the motion. The second effect is that if the object is already in the motion, so the force can stop the motion of the object or it can retard the motion of the object. Okay, so second is what types of the forces are you familiar with? At this level you have to know about the two forces, right? First is push type of force and another is pull type of force. Third one, what do you know about the gravitational force? So see here, everybody knows that the gravitation is some type of attraction between earth and any other objects on the surface of the earth or anywhere on the earth, right? But the universal definition of the gravitational force is that it is a force of attraction between any two objects having mass in the universe. So before going, we have to know about some prerequisites from the chapter number 1 9 standard laws of motion. First is distance. Okay, so what is meant by distance? You know that distance is nothing but the actual path traveled by the object. Okay, suppose these are two places, place A and place B. Okay, at this time one will travel from place A to place B in this manner. So this actual distance or actual path traveled by the object is nothing but distance. Okay, so the next concept is displacement. Suppose these are two places, same places. So what is the difference between distance and displacement? Displacement is also a distance, but it is a minimum distance in a straight line from initial point to final point. Okay, this is the difference between distance and displacement. You know, distance is scalar while the displacement is vector quantity because displacement is having direction. Next, speed and velocity. You know that speed is equal to distance per unit time. Okay, the distance traveled by the object per unit time. Okay, next is velocity. What is meant by velocity? Velocity is nothing but the displacement per unit time. V is equal to displacement per unit time. Displacement uses the letter small s, so you can say V is equal to s upon t. Alright, next, Newton's laws of motion. You know three Newton's laws of motion which you can recall from 9th standard. First is law of inertia, second is law of momentum, and third is law of reaction. Law of inertia, law of momentum, and law of reaction. You know, inertia means what? If the body is in the motion, it will remain in the motion unless and until it is acted upon by an external unbalanced force. Okay, what about law of momentum or second law of motion? Okay, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force and the force will act, or the rate of change of momentum is in the direction of applied force. Third is nothing but the law of reaction. Everybody knows every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Next one is Newton's equations of motion. You know about the three equations. First is V is equal to U plus AT. Another is V square is equal to U square plus twice AS. And third is S is equal to UT plus half AT square. Okay, these are three equations. Okay, I have took the speed for this because this already you have learned in the 9th standard. Okay, let's begin to the next one. So we are entering in the gravitation. Before this you have to know about the two things, force as well as motion. So what is meant by force? You know that force is any external agent which will set the body in the motion or retard the motion of the body. So what is motion? Motion is nothing but change of the position of the object with respect to time, that is motion. Okay, and the force is the cause for the motion. If force is there, there will be motion of the body, right? This is the interrelation between the force and motion. Okay, so this is clear. Next is that gravitational force. This is the renowned theory in which they are given a scientist, Newton, Isaac Newton, which is sat beyond the apple tree. Okay, when the apple falls, he thinks that why it fell down. Okay, so in this, he thought that why the apple can't go upward in the sky, why it don't go towards the horizon, in the line of horizon, like this, or in this manner upward the sky, or incline to the vertical, why it fall vertically downward, exactly downward in a straight line. So he concluded that, what he concluded, that it is the earth is attracting every object towards its center. Okay, now this is the conclusion, and this is theory by means of which it is considered that he found the gravitation. Okay, so there is, in this diagram there is a moon. Okay, and this force of attraction of the gravitation also exists between the earth and the moon. Okay, so there is a question in your mind, if the apple falls down due to the gravitational force, then why moon can't fall down due to the gravitational force or the same gravitational force? See here, that is the another concept known as centripetal force. Okay, by means of which it is also a force of attraction, and by means of which the moon revolves around the earth, that is centripetal force, but it does not fall due to its orbitary motion. This is the answer, orbitary motion. Okay, so this is the theory or concept of gravitational force. Now this is the introduction to the scientist Newton, Sir Isaac Newton. Okay, he was one of the renowned English scientists everyone knows about. Okay, and he was born in England. He gave the laws of motion, equations of motion, and theory of gravity in his book. There is a famous book known as Principia, and that book he gave law of motion, equation of motion, and theory of gravity. He had given the three laws describing the planetary motion also. Okay, so Newton is also given his contribution in the light, heat, and sound field, plus mathematics. In mathematics, he invented the new branch of mathematics which is known as calculus. Okay, now in 9th standard you learn about the telescopes. There is one of the telescope known as Newtonian telescope or reflecting telescope. It is also devised by Sir Isaac Newton. It used the mirror for reflecting. This is basic introduction to scientist who invented gravitation. Next is circular motion and centripetal force. Okay, in this, the object is in a circular motion. Okay, what is circular motion? The definition of circular motion is here. It is a movement of an object along the circumference of a circle or rotation along a circular path. Okay, suppose the object is rotating and it is rotating along the circumference of this circle having center O. This is known as circular motion. That is simple. Now, if the object is rotating in a circular motion, at that time, at any instant of time, the direction of the velocity of the object is always tangential to the circle. See here, it is, suppose at this instant of time, you have to know the direction of the velocity of this object. It is tangential to a circle. Suppose you want to find the direction of the velocity when the object is here, it is always tangential to the circle. At any time, it is what? Tangential to the circle. This is the property of circular motion. Next is centripetal force. So what is centripetal force? It is related with circular motion. So we have learned about circular motion. What is centripetal force? See, centripetal means what? It is center seeking. That is, object tries to go towards the center. Okay, here in this diagram you can see a stone is tied to a string and moving along a circular path. See the girl moving that stone along a circular path by means of tying it to the string. The velocity is in tangential direction, as I told. It is in this tangential direction to the circle. Okay, so what is centripetal force? Whenever the object is in the circular motion, okay, the object is always getting attracted towards the center of the circle. Okay, and this force is known as centripetal force. Okay, just remember, if you are taking the string with another end is tied with the stone and you are rotating it, okay, at that time during its revolution it will exert the force on your finger. That is nothing but centripetal force. Okay, so this is the what centripetal force. Next is, before going to Kepler's law, you have to know introduction to that scientist, Johannes Kepler. He was a German astronomer and mathematician. Okay, one of the famous astronomer known as Tycho Brahe. He was in the Prague. Prague is in Czech Republic. It is capital of Czech Republic in 1600. Okay, and he joined Tycho Brahe. Who? Johannes Kepler joined Tycho Brahe as its helper or assistant. After his death, whatever the invention or whatever the observation made by Tycho Brahe, he have written, and it was followed by means of Kepler, Johannes Kepler. Now he wrote several books and his work was later used by Newton, postulating the laws of gravitation. न्यूटन ने उसको यूज किया था. ओके, और मैथमेटिकली उसने वो प्रूव किया है. नेक्स्ट वन, दिस इज introduction to scientists. We are going to the Kepler laws. First is Kepler's first law. See, Kepler's first law is telling that the orbit of a planet is an ellipse. Okay, before going to this law, we have to know what is ellipse. Suppose there is a object, mathematical 3D object, geometrical, which is cone. Okay, if you are taking a plane which is straight plane, when you are viewing from top after cutting this cone in a straight plane, okay, so what happens, at from top you can see that there is a circle. But now we are taking another type of plane which is not straight, but it will be inclined like this. When it cuts this cone, it will be, when you see from the top, it will be like this. It means that this diagram is ellipse. It is not exact circle, but what it is, ellipse. Always remember, any ellipse is having, just like see, this is circle, it is having a center and all the points on its periphery are equidistant from this center O. Circle is having a single center. Just like this, ellipse is having the two focal points. Okay, plurally you can call it as foci. Now always remember this, that it is having two focal points. Every ellipse is having two focal points. The diagram is given the orbit of a planet moving around the sun. Kepler first law tells the orbit of a planet is ellipse and the sun at one of its foci. Means orbit is an ellipse. See here, orbit is elliptical and sun, you know, it is having two focal points and one of the focal point there is a sun. This simply is Kepler's first law. Next, Kepler's second law. What Kepler's second law tells? The line joining the planet and the sun sweeps. Okay, that line sweeps equal areas in equal intervals of time. Okay, so let's see here. This is ellipse, sun is here and planet is here, and this is the line joining between planet and the sun. Suppose I use time t, whatever it may be, 1 month, 2 months. This is time, fixed time, particular time. For this time, the planet will move here, okay, at B, and the line will come here, and this is the area swept, okay, in time t. So if you are using again time t and suppose planet is here, in same time t it will go here at this position, and this will be the area swept in that time. So this area, first area is equal to second area. Why? Because the time interval t is Same. Now analyze the sentence. The line joining the planet and the sun sweep equal areas in equal intervals of time. Right? This is so simple. Next, Kepler's third law. What it tells? Kepler's third law is what? See, before going to Kepler's third law, you have to know about two things. First thing is capital T. What is capital T? Capital T is nothing but period of revolution. See, period of revolution. Suppose sun is here and planet is here and it is moving in this direction. So to complete one revolution, the time required by it is T. Okay. एका revolution साठी लागणारा time T. Next, what is meant by R? R काय आहे? See, R is nothing but the mean distance of planet from the sun. See here. This is first and this is second, and at this foci there is sun. This is planet. Planet is moving in this direction like this. Okay. So this distance is what? R. This distance is R. As planet goes from this position to this position, the R will change, right? Like this. But we are taking the average R, that is mean R. So mean R is different. So T is period of revolution. T is what? Period of revolution. And R is mean distance of the planet from the sun. That's clear. Now we are going towards the third law. Third law says the square of its period of revolution around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of mean distance of the planet from the sun. See, period of revolution. What I say? Period of revolution, that is T. The square of the period of revolution. See, the square of the period of revolution around the sun is what? Directly proportional. Is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of the planet from the sun. Cube of what? Mean distance of the planet from the sun. T square is equal to R cube. This is third law. See, third law what says? Third law says that T square is directly proportional to R cube. If you want to remove this sign of directly proportional, you can take it as is equal to, but you have to take their constant K, which is known as Kepler's constant, R cube as it is. T square is equal to K R cube. This is Kepler's third law of planetary motion. Next, Newton's universal law of gravitation. Right, in this law, see in the diagram, there are two objects, 1 and 2. The mass of the object 1 is m1, 2 is m2. Okay, and these both are having some force of attraction between them, which is F. Okay, so these two objects, if you measure from the center of the two objects, this is the distance between the two objects, which is D. Okay, so the Newton's universal law of gravitation tells that every object in the universe attract every other object, okay, with a definite force F. Okay, and this force is directly proportional to the product of the masses, means m1 and m2, and product is m1 into m2, this product. Okay, this F is directly proportional to this product. And next, is inversely proportional, not directly, is inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Okay, see here, square of the distance means F is directly proportional to the product of masses of the two objects, and inversely means here in division section it's inversely proportional to what? Square of the distance between them, that is D square. F is directly proportional to m1 into m2 divided by D square. This is Newton's universal law of gravitation. I am telling you again. See here, F is directly proportional to m1 and m2. See, it is inversely proportional to, that is 1 upon D square, distance between the two objects D. And if you merge two of them, you will get F is directly proportional to m1 m2 divided by D square, right? So after removing this sign, we have to take some constant, capital G, m1 m2 divided by D square. So what is this G? This is constant of proportionality, known as universal gravitational constant. The value of this is 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square, right? So this is universal law of gravitation. So this one is the question which you can solve. You have to fill the box or question mark, right? You have to fill the question mark. What it says, in this normal condition force is equal to x. So in this condition F is equal to what changed from D to 2D. Okay, then what will happen? See our formula, F is equal to, okay, what is our formula during the universal law of gravitation? What's our formula? Formula is F is equal to G m1 m2 divided by d square. In this formula, instead of d there will be 2d square, means 4d square. Okay, means everything will same, g same, m1 m2 same, d square also same, only 4 is there and it is in divide section. Means if f is equal to x, then f is equal to what when d is equal to 2d, right? At this time the answer will be 1/4 of x. This will be the answer. Okay, there are some questions which you can attend by stopping this video. First, define the gravitational force as gravitation. Second, define centripetal force and state the formula for finding it. Third, state and explain Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Next, fourth question, fill in the blanks. The velocity of object in a circular motion at any instant of time is dash to the circle. Okay, the answer is tangential to the circle. Fifth one, state and explain Newton's universal law of gravitation. Sixth one, show that in SI unit, the unit of G is Newton meter square kg square. What it is? Minus. So why so? You have to show that. Okay, you can attend it later. The 6 questions are important. Now in today's feed, what we have learned: prerequisites first, like force, motion, and laws of motion basics. Second, gravitation introduction, like story of invention, how the Apple story is there. Introduction to scientist Newton. Third, centripetal force, circular motion and centripetal force. We learned about that. Fourth one is Kepler's laws, Kepler's 3 laws of planetary motion. And last is Newton U law. U laws mean universal law of gravitation. Newton's universal law of gravitation. This is today's feed. So, what are your queries? If there are queries, you can write in chat section, and you have one option: revise and revise. So, for the queries, you can connect me to WhatsApp group, Telegram channel, or this is my Instagram ID where you can follow me and ask anything. Okay, do subscribe my Instagram channel. Thank you.